Welcome back, True Seeker. Big news from the federal government today that a lot of people will overlook. The Supreme Court allowed an assault weapons ban to take place in Illinois. Of course, there was a federal assault weapons ban in the 90s, but in recent times, 10 states have passed assault weapons bans. At least, I know out here in Washington State, not Washington, D.C., but Washington State out on the West Coast, Washington State just became the 10th state to pass an assault weapons ban. But anyhow, the Supreme Court, they set a precedent today that, if states want to ban assault weapons, they're not really going to do anything about it. And technically, it is an infringement on the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. And we are living in a day and age where the First and Second Amendments are definitely under attack. And right here on big tech, where we are today, the platform we're using, again, doesn't tolerate a lot of things Second Amendment related, and definitely doesn't tolerate free speech. Censorship all over the place. Free speech is black and white. Free speech means you can say what you want. That doesn't mean there won't be consequences for it. You might get shot over something you say. Har har. But again, free speech should be tolerated in a world of adults. In a world where people should be able to go, you know what? I don't like that, so I'm going to tune that message out. It's YouTube. There's a billion channels on there. I just won't watch that one again. No need for a parent figure to come in and say what can be said and what can't. If people are going to be influential, the other people have to be willing to be influenced. And again, big tech's always trying to be influential with what they pull up in their searches. Why should they be allowed to be influential, but not others? Some people might say, well, because it's their platform. I mean, that's an argument. But at the same time, big tech holds the modern day town square. This is where the voices of the people are today, where people share information, where they look for information. So big tech, as an American company, again, to me, they should respect the First Amendment. But anyway, what I'm about to talk about is why this big ruling comes on the 137th day of the year, May 17th, 187 days before Joe Biden's birthday, what it has to do with the shooting in New Mexico that just happened on Monday, Mercury, and what just happened in Washington State, the latest state to pass an assault weapons ban right before this news, how all of these things are related and how it proves that our governments at the state level, at the federal level, they're being controlled by a greater power. There's a hand controlling the strings above them. And what we prove day after day is what makes the most logical sense. What big, puppeteer could be above the federal government? Well, again, let's look at all the clues. At the beginning of the country, there was the same European influence trying to stop what some of the founders were doing here. Again, the Catholic Church used to be the governorship of Europe, and in a lot of ways still is, and America and the rest of the world. But again, it was Rome and the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church. And again, the Roman Catholic Church gave us the calendar, the language as we know it, and clearly synced up this system in the 16th century that is alive and well. So again, look at how perfect this ritual is between all of these governments, Washington State's, New Mexico's, the federal government. Look how perfect this entire thing is as we unfold this. So today is May 17th, the 137th day of the year. If you're new here, Gematria is very simple. It's coding numbers into words based on the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z, the 26 is 26. It's also running the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26 in both orders with numerology. So you get 4 base ciphers. And take a look at the words on the screen. Washington, D.C., government, authority, White House, president. Look at all of the numbers overlapping with all of those words. And notice how all but president, Washington, D.C., government, authority, White House, how they all equal 137, which is the 33rd prime number, and of course 33 special, which we'll come back to. But again, 137. So this big ruling from the federal Supreme Court that sets a precedent for the nation on the 137th day of the year. Washington, D.C., the land of the feds. Now, today also leaves 228 days in the year, and United States of America equals 228. And this sets a new national precedent from the federal government. And Joe Biden, the current president, who said there would be major gun reform when he got into office, along with Merrick Garland, who got passed over for Supreme Court. They both said there'd be major gun reform in the time of Biden's administration. From today to Biden's upcoming birthday will be 187 days. Notice Washington, D.C. is 137, like we just talked about when you run the alphabetic order forwards. When you run it in reverse, 187. And in light of the Catholic Church being the ones behind the language and the calendar, and again, DC once used to be called Rome on the Potomac, owned by a man named Francis Pope. But anyway, the leader of the Jesuits, the military order of the Catholic Church, Arturo Sosa, from his 74th birthday to today, his 187th day of his age. And again, the Jesuits, their formal title is Society of Jesus, which equals 187. A Jesuit who we've seen a lot of in recent times, Anthony Fauci, his name's 187. Washington, D.C., 187. The name George Washington, also 187. George Washington was favorable to the Catholic Church in a time when a lot of American leaders were not. And he also goes down into his storybooks as the first recognized U.S. president. It's not an accident. This is a big thing, just setting these new legal precedents to undermine the Second Amendment. And again, this nation without the First and Second Amendment is pretty much just like every other country in the world. And again, a new world order. Again, the United States has, exceptional, rules, if you will, in terms of this new world order, where a lot of these countries don't have these privileges: freedom of speech, Second Amendment. And again, there's a lot of countries in the world that you think are bad places that have way more freedom than we do. But again, a lot of countries have lost their right to bear arms. And again, when you're ruled over by a militaristic cult, that does kill, to not have the right to defend yourself, even if it is a losing battle, that just isn't right. It's not right to lose rights. Anyhow, perfect ritual synced up with the leader of the Society of Jesus on his 187th day of his age. And what's the point we've been making for all these years about the nonstop shootings in the news that give us the reason to give up our rights and liberty, that give us the reason to go along with and nod our head to these politicians and talking heads? Again, all along the way, the same numbers being encoded in the shooting rituals, as we've talked about so many times. And just coming back to the 137, that's the 33rd prime number. DC's nickname is the Masonic City. George Washington was a Freemason. Keep in mind, Freemasonry, modern Freemasonry, was created by the Jesuit order. But 137, the 33rd prime, the headquarters for the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry in DC. The Scottish Rite goes up to the degree of 33, the highest degree, 33. The building has 33 columns on the outside that are each 33 feet tall. That's at the address 1733. And modern Freemasonry was created in the year 1717. The word Mason is 17. The word Masonry is 33. Modern Freemasonry was created in 1717 in London, a city divided up into 33 neighborhood areas. All facts. Mason 17, Masonry 33, House of the Temple at 1733 with 33 columns, each 33 feet tall. In this city with the 137 Gematria, the 33rd prime. And shooting after shooting, remember, all these words equal 33. Here, let's just pull up the calculator real quick, in case you're new here. Let's just break it down to one cipher, the alphabetic order with numerology. One moment here. We almost got it up. Okay, one cipher, the alphabetic order with numerology. Very simple cipher. A is 1 up to Z is 26, but it wouldn't be 26 for Z. It would be 8 because 2 plus 6 is 8. Y, the 25th letter, would be 2 plus 5 is 7. X, the 24th letter, would be 2 plus 4 is 6. Just making each letter a single-digit number. But notice, Masonry, 33. Mason, 17. 1733. Masonry, 33. Order, 33. Secrecy, 33. Federal, 33. Police, 33. All of these words, 33. The Fraternal Order of Police. This many people shot according to police. According to police. According to police. Every news story is the same if you go over the years. According to police. Fraternal Order of Police. Our government. A lot of the founders, Masons. A secret code to control humanity. Again, human beings. 33 bones in the human vertebrae. Thus, the spiritual belief about Kundalini, or the spiritual ascension up to 33 bones of the human vertebrae, which Masonry's into. And for the record, there are other 33 words in light of that. People's 33. So is person. So is society. Again, coming back to order, maintaining order in society amongst people by a code that's very human centered, very language centered. Language is human. Anyhow, 137, the 33rd prime. And notice the number of those other words in that cipher that aren't 137, like government's 137 and 133. White House, 137 and 133. President, 133. Okay. Again, royal family in the news today, as we talked about earlier. Video that seemingly nobody got. The royal family is also in the news on the 137th day of the year. Royal family equals 137. They're looked at as authority. Authority 137. They rule in the UK, associated with London, the city divided into 33 neighborhood areas. In case you missed the video on this earlier today, just real quick, supposedly the paparazzi almost got Harry and Meghan last night, 243 days after Harry's birthday, when, of course, his mom supposedly died on the 243rd day of the year after being chased by paparazzi in France, the land of the plus 33 international dialing code. And again, I've covered Princess Diana's death many times, how it was synced up with the Queen herself, Charles, and more. Huge ritual with Princess Diana in Paris, France, the land where the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry came to be, the land where L'Enfant was from, who laid out Washington, D.C., the land where the Jesuit order was created, or the Society of Jesus. But again, you just learn this little knowledge and you see day after day how we're played with. Okay, so we've covered very thoroughly the 137th day of the year, this big federal government move in Washington, D.C., why it comes on this day. 33, the number that is always in the TV stories to teach us why we should give up our rights and liberties. By the way, 33 is the master teacher number in numerology. Teacher does equal 33 as well. Shout out to all the teachers out there in the world. But yeah, interesting thing about 33 being the master teacher number. And really, it is like they're trying to teach us every day why we should give up our rights and liberties. There's bad people out there. Give up your rights and liberties. Look, these towers that were built in 1968 and came down in 2001, thanks to the scary man in the cave. Now we got the Patriot Act here. It's this big for you. We just wrote it all last night. It's actually this big. It's actually so big it doesn't fit in the room, but we wrote it all last night after 9/11. It just happened to be 33 years later. We're going to take away your rights and liberties to keep you safe. Again, if you guys don't know that, look that up. 1968, 911 made the National Emergency Dialing Code. 2001, A Space Odyssey came out about technology overtaking man. World Trade Center construction began in New York. Boeing debuted their only jumbo jetliners 33 years later, 9/11. And way more than that, too. But, okay, 137, 33. And we covered the 187 piece as well. I could have done a better job on the 187 piece. There's more to say about that. Again, Holy Roman Empire, 187, like Society of Jesus, like George Washington, like Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, like Abrahamic. All of this goes back to religion, spirituality, ancient belief systems. There's 187 chapters in the Torah that make up the Abrahamic religions. And look at that, just one word, just running the alphabetic order in reverse. One word alone, Abrahamic, 187, 187 chapters in the Torah. Genesis 11:9, where the Tower of Babel ends, the tower that divides the world, 11:9, like how the majority of the world writes the 11th day of September. The towers that divided the people of the world over religion. The president of the time from Skull and Bones, modeled after the Knights Templar, talking about crusades, people not getting the jokes. Donald Trump, the Jesuit, his convention on 18/7, 187 days from Inauguration Day, just like Biden's a Jesuit. It's like pretty much everyone in the club is. But, okay, there are a few more points to make here. This is a big one, though. This is a big one. Today is Wednesday. It's Wednesday, the day that the Supreme Court has this ruling. The day of the week named after Mercury, who's thought to be the clever one, the trickster, the connector of life and death, who connects the worlds between the dead and the living. And again, mass shootings, using fear of death to give up your rights and liberties as you live now and breathe. Anyway, it's Wednesday named after Mercury. Mercury has the gematria of 103, like assault weapons ban. Now, remember what this week is, though. It's not just any Wednesday. May 15th was Mercuralia, the one day of the year that the Romans would celebrate the Mercury in the sky, the god Mercury, Hermes to the Greeks. But remember what just happened on Mercuralia. You had the congressman supposedly attacked with a baseball bat, whose name equaled 103, and then the Nationals won the first game of the entire MLB day on Mercuralia 10-3. 10-3, like 103. So, and I think there's a joke in there, obviously, with the baseball bat and baseball game and what they did with Steve Scalise some years back in 2017 on Trump's birthday, all connected ritualistic stories. But the other thing about 103, and again, just an attack on a congressman. Hey, you take away guns, they'll attack you with baseball bats, knives, whatever they get, garden utensils, whatever they can get their hands on. But here, about Washington State being the last state to, or the latest state to ban assault weapons. The first reading of the bill before the ban went into place was on March 10th, 10/3, supposedly Osama bin Laden's birthday. Also goes with 103 like Pan Am 103, the big act of terrorism with planes before 9/11. And again, 103 is connected to Mercury. Mercury is the ruler of transportation, planes as weapons. Anyhow, assault weapons ban 103. Jesuits is also 103. And the man who led this in Washington State was Strom Peterson, whose full name is Strom Howard Peterson, which equals 103. If you missed all my videos the day of Mercuralia, we were talking about 103 all day. The congressman attacking all before the Nationals won the game that day 10-3. And again, from our state government to our federal government, the same types of rituals persisting. Coming back to the New Mexico thing, the New Mexico shooting on Mercuralia. Again, the 47th state, Mercuralia 47, the governor who got attacked with the baseball bat, it was his 47th day of his age. But look at this. The governor in New Mexico, she took office January 1st, 2019. The day of the Mercuralia shooting was 228 weeks. The shooting was in Farmington, New Mexico, which equals 228, like United States of America. And now, again, we're always talking about how DC, if you guys are new here, again, this just happened in the 47th state, right? DC has the Gematria 47 when you run the alphabetic order backwards. Mercuralia is 47. Just like government is 47, like authorities 47, like White House is 47, like how presidents 47, like how Democrats 47, like how Republicans 47, which came out of the Whig Party, which is 47, and the Republicans were created by Lincoln, who said 7 years ago, because these people have always been speaking in code. So we go from the Mercuralia shooting in New Mexico, the 47th state, to 2 days later, Wednesday, the day of Mercury. And now we're in the land of 47 DC, and the court, and remember, judges 47, gavels 47, time is 47, obey is 47. You know, the judges are now having this ruling. And again, doing it on the day that's leaving 228 days left in the year after what we just had in Farmington, New Mexico on Mercuralia. I mean, you see how this is all going together? Let me pull up the congressman post real quick here, just so you can see what I'm saying about his 47th day of his age on the same day. Here's the follow-up post to that. Nationals end up winning 10-3 that day. And the congressman who was attacked with the baseball bat in the same day, Mercuralia, Gerald Edward Connolly, 103. Okay? And again, Mercury 103, the day to celebrate Mercury. And now, just 2 days later. Okay. All right. I think I made it clear enough. But yeah, it goes to show why part of our indoctrination, I mean, it's amazing how many people don't realize that they're indoctrinated. I mean, there's hundreds of millions of us, and a lot of us are like, we've been turned into the same cookie cutter thing. We have like the same ideas, wants, wishes, cultural beliefs. Again, culture, cult. But in America, so many people are, they're really focused on them and their family. They try to keep it just to them and their family. They try to tune out the bad news, just focus on the family. don't pay too much attention to things, but whenever something comes up, just kind of go with the flow. If the TV and the government's telling me to do this, I'm going to do that. But if somebody comes into my life and is questioning these things and saying, should we be questioning what's on TV? Should we be getting that jab? Should we be giving up our rights and liberties? Wait a minute, are guns bad? If you're that person, then in that cultural programming, you become like this banned thing. And then, you have all these different ways. If you're one of the program people just going along with the flow, to dismiss everything this person's trying to show you with all the same types of insults and stereotypes and mom's basement and tinfoil hat. And I don't really think about anything conspiratorial. Like, oh, so since you've totally wiped out that category, I guess you've just allowed the den of vipers that rule over our government to just roam free as ever. Yeah, there's even some other things that are interesting here, synced up with John Roberts, who's 68 right now. Again, John Roberts, 1968 was the year of years. Again, 9/11, World Trade Center construction, RFK and MLK assassinations, first major gun control that year. There was a pandemic, I think, in Japan. Anyway, huge year, 68. The year of years, the year that we always go back to. Coronavirus coined that year. Fentanyl approved that year. So many things in 68. But a magic number is 68. Has a lot of gematria meaning, connects with the CIA. All sorts of things, 68. But John Roberts, 68 years old at the time of this ruling, and it's 110 days after his birthday. Kind of reminds of the 110-story World Trade Centers that came down on the 11th of September. Today's date numerology is 11. It's 121 weeks after Biden took office. Square root 11. 11's the master number. A master plan is being executed against humanity again on 9/11, the 11th day of the month. In New York, the 11th state, where the World Trade Centers look like an 11. It all started with Flight AA11 and so on and so forth. Doing things by a numerology, gematria code, day after day. And slowly but surely just gaining more and more control over a people who keep telling themselves they're free and living in the greatest country ever, the most just country ever. In reality, we're paying a corrupt. Again, like, you can believe in the idea of government. I don't totally disbelieve in the idea of government. I can imagine if you had really good people who are really looking out for humanity and really were the type of people who these people are rare, they exist. But if you had a government filled with nothing but good people who wanted to make everything the best for people and the most affordable and truly stimulate, yeah, I want to use that word right now with all the people who were literally like, they wanted to be in their positions because they really cared more about the people that they were looking out for than their own selves. I mean, if you had that, man, that could be a glorious thing, but that's a big pipe dream. Again, most people are selfish. We know that power corrupts people. I mean, just government, it's an idea at this point that's proven to be a failure. And of course, there does need to be leadership. But anyway, our government, through this knowledge, we can see who's really running the show and how they continue to operate day after day as, again, they whittle away rights and liberties. And it can't be emphasized enough. And yeah, again, if you want to talk about this more, tonight, it's Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we have Truth Frequency Radio, or I should say we're on Truth Frequency Radio. TFRlive.com is the website. It's 24/7, 365 streaming of what's supposed to be truth-related content. Again, I know a lot of people on the network. It's hard for me I have to put an asterisk next to it. I'm glad to be on the network, but because it's just one more place where I can get out my voice, and you know what? I'm the black sheep of TFR again. Pretty much everyone on there thinks Trump's the hero. They're all about Trump. They're still caught up in the whole political thing, left, right, liberal, conservative, not seeing how everybody's getting played. But again, every Wednesday night, TFR, call in. The call-in number is always on the screen on Wednesday nights. It's a different number than the one we use the rest of the week. And yeah, again, I just wish I'd hear more people calling in saying like, hey, I just found your work and I want to help get out the word about what's going on. Who's out here in my community that wants to link up and go pound some pavement? Again, I always keep waiting for phone calls like that, but they typically don't call. We need more people who are out doing things, engaging, waking up. And by the way, shout out to the two people in the community signed up at $100 a month on my Patreon for the travel once a month. You guys, if there are some high rollers out there who really support the work and like when I get out and speak and have confidence in me being out there speaking. Again, for people who don't know, that is one thing I've proven I can do. I can get out in front of the crowd and speak, even in hostile territory. But again, if more people fill that up, we can generate a real travel fund each month. And if all of a sudden the whole nation gets behind it, I'm just like, whoa, we got more payroll than CNN. We'll be bigger than CNN. But seriously, with politics getting into swing and an election a year and a half away now, things about to really start heating up. If we have a lot of people supporting the travel fund, we can travel a lot, and that's what I need here at home to make Sweet Lady not hate me so much every time I go somewhere. Because right now she just doesn't get it. Because you have to look at it from Sweet Lady's perspective. She likes when I'm home. She misses me when I'm not here. She doesn't see the point of me going out, since every time I go out, what shows is support goes down, video views are down. The videos when we're out there don't get that many views. They don't have that many comments. Again, a lot of this could be, suppression by the big companies. But then ultimately, at the end of the day, just like even the people who support the work financially fall off. They'd rather have sports picks than see me out driving around the nation pounding pavement. So anyway, if there are people who realize the real value in my work, like right now, the people who realize the value in my work are the people who support mostly because they want sports content. But really what, like, I know that the world needs more is people to find support for the work so that I can go out and afford to be traveling and speaking out nonstop as much as possible at all these events where all these people come together, whether it's from Trump or Biden or this latest mass shooting. We have a message to say that can wake people up and pull them out of the slumber each time. And the thing is, like, if anybody wants to come up and debate, that might end up being a lot more persuasive. We'll create those situations more if we're out in public, getting people's attention, just like how we were in LA. Here, you want something to say? Here's the mic. Here, you can come say what you want to say. And again, I mean, that brings crowd engagement, and it might make people, snap out of it. We need people to snap out of it. It's so bad, you guys. It's so bad how far we are into the game with the censorship that's here, with the police surveillance state that we've pretty much just grown to accept. We all know these phones are listening to us. I mean, it's like you get done, you're like, oh, you want me to pick up that kind of food product tonight? And then you log on CNN.com to see the latest headline, and then the ad thing, it's advertising the food product you were just on the phone conversation with, about with Sweet Lady. It's like, okay, I've never seen the ad for that product there. I literally was just talking about that 10 minutes ago, Sweet Lady, and now it's right there. I mean, again, it all makes sense, right? For people who weren't alive, for all you young people, right before September 11th, everybody was starting to get cell phones. Like through the end of the 80s, you had the fancy millionaire car, cell phone, big block, gray thing. Nobody had that unless they were rich. But then at the end of the 90s, people finally just started to get these cell phones, Nokias at the time, and you could choose your own ring and your own cover, and everybody was customizing their phone. But all of a sudden, we had this device in our pocket, and then before long, they had cameras on them and recorder, all this stuff. And then next thing you know, the new laws of the land where the telecom companies had the right to collect our data and information, and they were immune from prosecution. And the next thing you know, NPR is saying, yeah, you might want to think about, not keeping the phone near you when you're having personal conversations. And you might want to think about putting a piece of tape over the camera because, yeah, the authorities could be looking even when you think they're not. And I mean, this is now the land we live in where it's like, okay, those rights and liberty, those days are over. 9/11 happened. You need to be kept safe. And this is how we're keeping you safe. Big tech, big government, they've partnered up together to keep you so safe and make life more convenient than ever with this pocket computer that you can only say certain things on. See, then they made it so popular, like it's the thing in our life that we're always communicating through, but now we can only say things. I mean, just even the auto text. Sometimes you're writing out things and then like auto text it to something totally different. It's like, okay. So it doesn't even want me to text that. It wants to change my thoughts and ideas. But anyway, you guys, humanity's got to snap out of it. It just gets worse and worse. Then next thing you know, there's the killer illness killing all the 80-year-olds in the nursing home. So we got to lock down the country. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, all these people are just marching along to that too. You sound like a conspiracy theorist. They want to keep us safe. I'm triple jabbed. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, you guys. We'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you, John Mendoza. I see your dollar. I appreciate that. Every dollar counts. But yeah, we'll be back tonight, you guys. Again, Truth Frequency Radio. We stream it on YouTube. GematriaEffectNews every Wednesday night. Show starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And it's really not a show. It's more of the truth seeker engagement for 3 hour, you know. And again, I hope tonight we get some new callers, some people who are just as fed up as I am with everything going on, and some people who want to do something about it. I don't feel like again, I feel like I'm on a losing team. The team fighting for the future, and we're losing in a bad way. I'm not leaving the team, but I just don't like getting beat every game. So, again, we got to get more people to get engaged, you guys. And again, thank you to everyone who supports the Patreon and the people who the first 2 people to pledge $100 a month for travel. Again, we get a few more people on that tier. I'll show Sweet later. I'll say, see, there's people out there that want to see me travel. If we can get 8 more people on that tier, we'll figure out where to go ASAP. You know, for $1,000, most places you can fly there and get a couple days in at least. And that's what we need. We need to be able to do a lot of think about it. Over the course of a month, there's usually 3 or 4 big stories within the nation, right? And every time I'm like, I wish I was right there right now to engage with that community and get this knowledge out while it's fresh and current. And yeah, that's what we need to start doing. Not I wish, we need to start doing. But by the way, shout out to Kayla Decode Talker. Kayla pointed out that the New Mexico shooting, just one more thing before I get off here, it just jumped into my head. Kayla said locally in Arizona, and it's also being brought up in the national stories if you Google, but the New Mexico shooting, they're comparing it to another New Mexico shooting that happened in the same area in 2017. So this was a wound from the past for the community. It's like reopening a fresh wound with another local shooting. But it was on the infamous date of Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 2017, the 2017 Aztec High School shooting. From the anniversary of that shooting to this latest shooting in New Mexico, right by there, 159 days. And notice, Aztec High School, where the shooting was before, 159. Mass shooting, 159. And, of course, Scottish Rite, also 159, which shares the motto with the Jesuits, Ad Merum de Gloriam. And you know what? Just out of curiosity, I wonder if I covered that shooting at the time. There's been so many, I can't remember. Let's see if I covered the Aztec High School shooting. I remember covering a New Mexico. Yeah, I did. Okay. I remember there being a New Mexico elementary school shooting shortly after Sandy Hook, where they said the shooter dressed up, or not the shooter, but the teacher who got killed dressed up as Batman. And remember that was shortly after the Aurora, Colorado Batman premiere shooting. And then that year for the Batman movie, they put out a new toy map of Gotham. And for the first time ever, they changed the neighborhood of South Hinckley to Sandy Hook. And Hinckley's a shooter in history too for Reagan. But anyway, who was in Hollywood like Batman, and Donald Trump ran on Reagan's campaign and calls himself Batman. Anyway, here's my old post. Let's just look at this. December 7th, 2017. Here's my post from my old site, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. I said it was the right day for an Aztec chaos. All right, so it's Pearl Harbor Day. Pearl Harbor Day has that Gematria 144 like Jesuit order. Aztec, New Mexico has interesting numbers, including that 68 that we just talked about, infamous number. From CIA to Catholicism and beyond. And there's the Aztec High School shooting, 159 right there. It's also 246. The country right now is 246 years old, and we get another shooting in New Mexico nearby right before this symbolic, move by the Supreme Court to further allow another assault weapons ban. For the record, Catholic Church is also 246. Can't remember this all synced up with the Superior General who serves the Catholic Church. Okay. There were 2 students killed in that. Now, 2 days after the latest New Mexico shooting, you have this gun control. Here, there's some things that are interesting here, but the shooter's name was William Atchison. His surname Atchison 127, like the date, like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Scottish Rite 159, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry 127. Yeah. Anyhow, what are the odds? What are the odds of how it all lines up? Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And funny enough, it says, oh, the number just changed. I look up, it said there were 333 people in the stream. But yeah, in case you are new here, I mean, just some of the recent 33s in shooting. Again, the Nashville, Tennessee shooting. They said 3 adults and 3 children killed at a school where 33 teachers worked in building 33. Then they had the Louisville shooting at building 333 in the 33rd district, exactly 33 weeks after the mayor's birthday. And then I lose track. There's so many 33. Some of the recent shootings, they've said the shooter was 33 years old, but this pattern's been going on so many times. I mean, if you went back and looked at all of the mass shootings that were in the news in the last decade, your mind would be blown by how many times they put the number 33 in the story. I mean, it would just be such a huge percentage. It would be improbable to just be a coincidence. And again, that's where you start to go, well, where if this is beyond coincidence, then where's the meaning of 33? Oh, it's important with secret societies. Oh, it's important with the secret society that's in the federal government. Oh, it's important within a secret society that's headquartered in the federal city. Oh, it's important to a secret society that's associated with George Washington, who the city's named after. I mean, this is a logical trail to follow. And then when the government continues to do ritual year after year that point back to the same numbers, I mean, you become an illogical person if you deny what's going on. So, and it's just frustrating because in all these years, I mean, I'm always opening up the line for a debate, and you never hear a good debate, but you always hear the same kind of stuff. You know, just name calling, and I guess it really never gets past name calling. This sounds schizophrenic, and then you go, "Well, how's it schizophrenic?" And then there's no follow up. It's like, oh, okay, so that was it. That was a deep thought. Yeah, no cameras working. Exactly. Last year in the subway shooting in New York, they said the shooter fired 33 shots and all the cameras were out. And again, that was on April 12th, the anniversary of the start of the American Civil War over slavery, where the Underground Railroad came from. And that was a subway shooting, like an Underground Railroad, and they blamed it on a black man. I mean, come on. The cameras were out. 33. All right. I'll be back tonight, True Seeker. Few errands to run between now and then. And I'll see you there. Till next time.